There comes a moment in life when a man wakes up and realizes he is at war, not with the world, not with society, but with himself. Every morning is a battlefield, and the first moments of the day decide whether we march forward as warriors or crumble like the weak. The mind, fragile and restless, seeks comfort. The body, lazy and undisciplined, begs for softness. But the strong, those who carve their own destiny, rise with purpose. They do not wake up and scroll through meaningless distractions. They do not waste their first breath on complaints. They do not seek validation from the world. Instead, they embrace the cold, the silence, the discipline. They take command of their thoughts before the world corrupts them. They master themselves before stepping into the chaos of the day, because they understand one brutal truth: if you do not rule your morning, the world will rule you. And once the world owns your mind, you are nothing more than a puppet, dancing to the strings of emotions, temptations, and external noise. But we are not here to be puppets. We are here to be sovereigns of our own fate. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, began his days not with indulgence, but with steel-like resolve. Seneca, one of the sharpest minds in history, wrote that a man is as miserable as he believes himself to be. That misery is a choice. Weakness is a choice. And every morning we choose who we become. Today, I will take you through 5 sacred morning rituals that separate the weak from the strong, the lost from the unshakable. But be warned, these are not for the faint-hearted. They will force you to confront your own mind, to battle your inner demons, to strip away the excuses you have clung to for years. And if you stay until the end, you will not be the same person who pressed play on this video. You will be sharper, stronger, more dangerous, and those around you will feel it. But before we begin, subscribe now, because this journey is not just for today, it's for life. Now, let's begin. Wake up with purpose, before the world steals your mind. The moment your eyes open, war begins. Not with swords or shields, but with thoughts. The weak wake up and surrender immediately. They reach for their phones, scroll through distractions, let the outside world infect their minds before they have even taken their first conscious breath. They give away their focus, their time, their energy to meaningless noise. But the strong, the ones who control their own destiny, wake up with purpose. Before they even move, they remind themselves why they exist, what they must do, and who they refuse to become. A Stoic does not wake up to be entertained. He wakes up to command his day before the world does. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in Rome, woke up each morning not to indulge but to prepare, to remind himself that life is short, duty is sacred, and weakness is a disease that spreads through the mind if left unchecked. If an emperor of the world's greatest empire had the discipline to seize his mornings, then what excuse do we have? The first moments of your day determine everything. If you wake up and let emotions, distractions, or laziness take control, you are already defeated. The body will beg for more sleep, the mind will whisper excuses, but this is where the battle is won, in that single second when you either take command or surrender. The Stoics called this the fight against hedonism, the desire for comfort, pleasure, and ease. And make no mistake, pleasure is not your friend. It is the greatest enemy of strength, the poison that rots the mind, the chain that binds the weak. Seneca warned that a man is as miserable as he believes himself to be, meaning your suffering is not in the world, it is in your mind. And if you let your mornings slip away, you will spend your days trapped in misery, reacting, complaining, and chasing distractions that only deepen the void inside you. But if you master your mornings, you master your life. You become unshakable. So how do we take control? The answer is simple but brutal. You wake up and you move instantly. No hesitation, no second thoughts, no lingering in bed. The moment your mind tells you to delay, you do the opposite. You rip off the sheets, plant your feet on the cold ground, and you stand up like a warrior rising for battle. You move before your excuses catch up to you. You move before comfort seduces you back into weakness. This is not just about waking up early. This is about reclaiming your sovereignty. It is about proving to yourself every single morning that you own your mind. If you can win this moment, you can win the day. And if you can win the day, you can win your life. And here's the truth. If you don't control your mornings, someone else will. The world is waiting to pull you into its chaos. Social media is waiting to program your mind. The news is waiting to poison you with fear. The weak will wake up and drown in this noise, but the strong rise before the world even notices them. They wake up when others sleep. They prepare when others drift. They take control before the war even begins. And that is why they always win. If you want to be among them, start here. Win your first battle. Stand up, take action, and move with purpose. Now, let's move to the next step, because waking up is only the beginning. Train your mind to obey you. The moment you step into discomfort, you separate yourself from the weak. The masses wake up and chase warmth, ease, and softness. They wrap themselves in comfort, avoiding anything that demands effort. But a Stoic, he does the opposite. He walks straight into discomfort, because he knows that suffering is the price of strength, and there is no better way to forge an unbreakable mind than to start the day with cold exposure. A cold shower, a brisk morning air, the shock of icy water, whatever it is, the goal is simple: to force the mind to obey, not to negotiate. If you can stand against the cold first thing in the morning, what else can shake you? If you can take control in the moment of shock and pain, what weakness can exist within you? Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The cold proves this. The moment it hits you, the mind panics. It tells you to pull away, to stop, to escape. But if you stay, if you breathe, if you endure, you realize the pain was never real. It was only your mind trying to break you. And once you understand this, the world loses its power over you. The cold is not just about building physical resilience. It is about declaring every single morning that you are not a slave to comfort. Think about how most people live. They avoid pain. They run from hardship. They seek convenience at all costs. And what do they get in return? A weak body, an anxious mind, a restless soul. They are trapped in their own comfort, and they don't even see it. But we are not like them. We welcome the struggle, because we know that comfort is the enemy of greatness. Every time you step into the cold, you are doing more than just testing your body. You are training your mind to face life without fear. You are rewiring your brain to stop seeing pain as something to avoid and start seeing it as something to conquer. And here's the truth: if you cannot handle a few seconds of cold water, how will you handle real adversity? If you break at the first sign of discomfort, how will you stand against the real storms of life? The Stoics believed in preparing for hardship before it arrives, because when the battle comes, only the trained will survive. This is not theory, this is life, and those who refuse to prepare will be crushed. And here's where the weak get it wrong. They think resilience is something you are born with. It is not. It is something you build day by day, moment by moment, in the smallest decisions. Every morning, when you stand under the cold, you are making a choice: to be weak or to be unshakable. And the best part, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. What was once unbearable becomes routine. What once filled you with fear now makes you laugh. And one day, you wake up and realize the world has lost its grip on you. You are no longer afraid of pain. You are no longer afraid of discomfort. You are no longer afraid of anything, because you have trained yourself to stand firm no matter what. And that is what makes you dangerous. That is what makes you free. Now let's move to the next step, because discipline does not stop with the body. it must be carved into the mind. Master your mind before the world corrupts it. The weak roll out of bed and let the world infect their minds before they have even taken their first real breath. They check their phones, consume distractions, and drown themselves in the noise of 1,000 meaningless voices. They wake up not as masters of their thoughts, but as slaves to the world's influence. But we are not like them. A Stoic wakes up and immediately takes control, because he knows that if he does not command his mind, someone else will. Before speaking, before checking messages, before allowing a single thought from the outside world to enter, he sits in silence and fortifies his mind. He reflects, he visualizes, and he reminds himself who he is. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world at his time, would wake up and immediately remind himself that he was surrounded by fools, that the day ahead would test his patience, and that his only duty was to remain in control of himself. If the Emperor of Rome had to prepare his mind against corruption, then what makes us think we can survive without doing the same? The first battle of every day is a battle of thoughts. If you allow negativity, doubt, or distraction to creep in, it will grow like a disease, poisoning every decision, every action, every moment of your life. This is why the Stoics practiced morning contemplation, a ritual of mastering the mind before exposing it to the world. It is in this silence that clarity is found. It is in this stillness that we define our purpose. Instead of being pulled into the chaos of the world, we set the direction. Seneca wrote, "If a man does not know to which port he is sailing, no wind is favorable." This is the truth. If you do not take control of your mind in the morning, the rest of your day will be dictated by impulse, by distraction, by whatever force is strongest around you. And for most people, that force is weakness, it is fear, it is emotion. But a Stoic does not let the world dictate his fate. He chooses it, he commands it. He wakes up, takes control of his mind, and decides exactly how he will face the day, before the day even begins. So how do we do this? The answer is simple. You sit in silence and take control. No phone, no noise, no distractions. Just you, your thoughts, and the discipline to master them. You take a deep breath, and you remind yourself of one truth. You are in control. No one can break you. No one can steal your peace. No one can force you to react. Whatever the day brings, insults, problems, failures, setbacks, you are already prepared. You have already won the battle in your mind, and that is what separates the strong from the weak. The weak let the world shape them. The strong shape themselves. The moment you master your thoughts, you become untouchable. And when the world finally tries to shake you, it finds that you are unshakable. This is the power of a trained mind. This is the weapon of a true Stoic. And now we move to the next step, because thought alone is not enough. It must be turned into action. The power of disciplined action. Most people stumble through their mornings in a daze, reacting, delaying, making excuses. They convince themselves that they'll start their day when they feel ready. But readiness is a lie. Discipline does not wait for motivation. It moves before the mind has a chance to resist. A Stoic does not waste the first moments of the day in hesitation. He does not allow himself to be pulled into distractions or mindless indulgence. He wakes up and moves. Because he understands one brutal truth: how you start your day is how you live your life. If you start weak, you stay weak. If you start slow, you stay slow. If you allow yourself to procrastinate in the morning, it will spread like a disease into everything you do. The first action of the day sets the tone for all that follows. Marcus Aurelius knew this well. He wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for?'" A Stoic does not waste time arguing with himself. He does what must be done without hesitation. The weak will always wait for the right moment to act. They will say, "I'm tired, I'll start tomorrow." But tomorrow is a lie. Tomorrow is an excuse. The Stoic understands that there is only now, this moment, this decision, this action. Hesitation is the enemy, and the only way to kill it is with immediate, decisive movement. Whether it is a workout, an important task, or simply getting out of bed without delay, you must act before the mind has time to resist. Every morning, the moment you open your eyes, you are faced with a choice: to conquer the day or to be conquered by it. The weak let their emotions decide for them. The strong act despite their emotions. And this is the difference between those who achieve greatness and those who remain stuck in mediocrity. The difference is discipline. It is the ability to move forward when every fiber of your body wants to stop. It is the ability to attack the day with force, not to wait for the perfect conditions. Because in life there is no perfect moment. There is only action or regret. And here is the brutal reality. Discipline is the ultimate form of freedom. The undisciplined man thinks he is free because he does what he wants. But in truth, he is a slave to his desires, to his emotions, to his weaknesses. The disciplined man, on the other hand, is truly free because he controls himself. He does not wait for motivation. He does not negotiate with laziness. He moves, and because he moves, he wins. This is why the Stoics trained themselves to act without delay, because they knew that action builds momentum, and momentum creates an unstoppable force. You cannot think your way into success. You must act your way into it. So today, when the world tries to pull you into distractions, when your mind tells you to wait, to rest, to delay, stand up, move, and take control, because the moment you do, you separate yourself from the weak. You prove to yourself that you are the master of your fate, and that is the power of a Stoic. But now, we take it even further, because action is nothing without the right focus. The final ritual of a Stoic morning. Most people drift through life without direction, pulled by their emotions, controlled by their desires, and enslaved by distractions. They wake up and let the world dictate their mood, their focus, and their fate. But we do not live like them. A Stoic takes control. A Stoic sets his mind like iron in the morning so that nothing can shake him for the rest of the day. The final act of a true Stoic morning is the most powerful one of all, the ritual of strengthening the will. This is where we forge our unbreakable mindset, where we remind ourselves that no matter what happens today, we will not be moved. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that is the core of it all. Strength does not come from circumstances. It does not come from luck. It comes from within. The world will try to throw chaos, setbacks, and hardships in our path. But we stand firm, not because life is easy, but because we are unshakable. And how do we build this unshakable will? We train it every single morning. Just as the body is strengthened through resistance, the mind is strengthened through voluntary hardship. This is why the Stoics deliberately embraced discomfort, cold baths, hunger, discipline in speech, and self-denial. Because the man who trains himself in hardship is prepared for anything. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. The weak avoid pain, and in doing so they become fragile. But the strong, we, seek it out." Every morning, we remind ourselves that we are not entitled to comfort, that we do not fear struggle, and that we do not break under pressure. We embrace the discomfort. We face the challenges head-on. We remind ourselves that no matter what pain or resistance the day brings, we have already conquered it in our minds. Because the man who has already endured suffering in his imagination is immune to it in reality. He has already won. This is the final step of the Stoic morning, to step into the day already victorious. Not hoping for an easy path, not wishing for comfort, but standing tall, ready for whatever comes. The world may bring insults, losses, or betrayals. It may bring storms, obstacles, or suffering, but we do not waver because we have already faced it all in our minds. We are prepared. We are untouchable. This is why a Stoic morning is not just a routine. It is a declaration of war against weakness. It is a training ground for the battles ahead. And now, you must ask yourself, will you walk into the day as a victim of circumstance or as a master of fate? If you have followed this path, if you have built these rituals into your morning, then you already know the answer. You have become what most men will never be, unbreakable. But this is only the beginning, because true strength is not just built in the morning. It is forged in how you face the rest of the day. And in the next video, we will go even deeper into the Stoic path, into the hidden secrets of those who dominate life with unshakable power. Subscribe now, because this journey has only just begun.